Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Thursday, the 13th of September online chess lesson. This is Robert Jamieson, and I have with me today down in Tassie, Evan. Say hello, Evan. Are you there, Evan?
Hello,
Hi.
hello.
How's the weather like down there?
Pretty good.
Yeah, you're better than us. We've had hail and rain. It's been terrible today. So good day for chess anyway. That's the main thing. Now, you've had a look at our little puzzle from the Olympiad.
Yes.
Yes. Did you come up with a solution? What do you think is the best move for white?
I originally thought Queen G7 check, but that can just be met by Queen F6. So then I thought just bringing your king into action with King to H4.
Okay. All right. Well, it's interesting because no one has actually solved this, and it doesn't take very long. It was I think it was the last round game. Smurden being an Australian Grandmaster Board 1. That was a very important game. Unfortunately, he was black, and his opponent went Queen G7 check, which is the obvious move. And black's only reply is Queen F6. Now, did you have a look what white could do here? Is there any good possibilities here, Evan?
You can't really take because then the king is able to stop the pawn,
Yep,
and
true.
you can't bring your king up. So I was sort of stuck at what to do.
Oh, you're sort of stuck here. Most of the guys played Queen C7 check, and Black's king ran away to D4. Have you familiar with the term Zugzwang, Evan?
Yeah.
This is perhaps not quite Zugzwang, but is very similar. So I'll give you one more chance for a killer move for White. You play one
It
move,
would just
and
be like a waiting move
yeah, you play
then.
one move, and Black resigns. What is the move?
Uh, Bishop to G2.
Nope. Ryan suggested Queen D7, the killer move, everyone. Think of Black's king and queen. The king can't move because the queen would be lost, and the queen can't move. So you just play E3. William's got it, but he might have cheated and seen me move it first. So what's Black going to do? Our next move is going to be Queen C7 mate. So he can play Bishop C4, Queen C7 mate. Or he can swap queens to let us get a new queen, or he can play F4. We take it and we win your queen anyway. So everyone missed it. So that's a good lesson in quiet moves as well. Don't just look at checks and captures, look at the quiet moves. What do you think of that, Evan? Was pretty nice?
Yep, yep,
Yeah,
that works.
I thought it was a pretty finish. All right, now today's a little bit different because Evan has played 3 games recently, which he sent me, and he's run them through his computer and annotated them, so we know what the computer thinks is a good move and a bad move. So what we're going to do is hopefully have a look at those games, and you guys can compare notes with Evan. And if we find Evan could have played a better move or made a mistake or something, we'll focus on why he's chosen the wrong move. So, which game do you want to look at first? We have choice of 3.
Uh,
Any preference?
I guess the Russell Horton.
The Russell game. Okay. Let me see. All right. So you were black. So let's get stuck into it. We've got to try and see if we can squeeze in the 3 games. Oh, okay. Do you normally play this?
Yes.
All right. So this must be a bit of a shock for your opponents who aren't expecting you to play such a wild attacking opening. So white chopped and you pushed up. So you're pawn down, but you've gained a nice bit of space there. And it can get pretty tricky. Uh, Bishop E6. Is that Bishop E6 the normal move? Or you run out of theory now?
Um, I don't think this is the main line.
Yeah, I'd be surprised if Bishop E6 was the right move. But anyway, it's developing a piece, so we'll see how we go. Now, he's trying to grab his pawn back. So you took his C pawn, and he then hit your queen. Um, but that probably wasn't the best move because you've countered with a check. And he's dropped back, and you now put your queen in the centre of the board. So how do you reckon you're going here?
I think I'm doing pretty well.
Yeah, you've got your pieces developed and bit of control of the centre, so it's looking pretty good so far. Now he hits you with A3. Okay, now in your notes you say you did bishop takes D2 check, but you should have done bishop B3.
Yeah.
Is that the current theory? Chase his queen around a bit?
Bishop B3 and then drop my dark squared bishop back.
Yeah, so why did you miss that in the game, do you think?
I saw bishop B3 and the queen moves over, but I still felt like it wasn't much advantage in I couldn't get my bishop, keep my bishop, but I didn't see that the bishop was stopping the pawn from advancing.
All right, so you've had a look at the move anyway, which is the first step. So you ended up taking him. He took back. And now you chopped his D pawn. Not totally sure about that, because that means he can chop your D pawn, and your pawn's probably stronger than his. We'll see how we go. He'll chop back. He possibly should have swapped knights, because now you've got him on the D file, maybe. What move should you play here?
Sorry?
What move should you play here, do you think?
F6, maybe?
Yep, that looks pretty good. Chase his bishop away and strengthen your knight. So he goes back, and then you castle. So this is looking good because you've got 3 pieces developed and your king made safe, and his king sort of stuck there in the middle. So you'd have to say you're doing okay here. But he quickly castles to try and catch up. You develop a piece. He gets his queen out of the pin on the D file, which is probably a bit risky. Remember what you played here?
No.
Right, you hit him with C5 because the knight is pinned against the rook. So interesting. He takes, you take. Okay. Right, now, people, it looks like white's in a bit of a pickle because that knight's pinned. If you move it, he's got queen takes rook check. So is there a way white can get out of it? On the questions, type in what move you'd play for white here, if you can get out of losing that piece. No one's come up with anything yet. Oh, Haran's come up with something. Rebecca's come up with something, but probably not quite the right one. Ryan's come up with something. Not quite the right one. Okay, everyone's baffled. All right, Haran and now Ryan, well done. White can play E4 to avoid losing the piece. Now, what do you reckon you should do, Evan? Should you take his knight and attack the other guy's queen, or should you take that pawn on E4?
Perhaps taking the knight might have been okay.
Okay.
With your E5 pawn.
Queen takes E4's possibly the best. It gets a little bit messy, but the other one looks fairly tempting as well. So you take there, and he takes here. Okay. How do you reckon you're going now? Are we still going okay?
I think it's become very complicated.
All right, we've stopped off a few pieces. It shouldn't be that complicated. You've got a bit more space. I guess both kings are a little bit open. All right, now, question for everyone. So it's Evan's move. Should he swap queens and get into the ending, or should he move his queen somewhere and keep the queens on? So swap or not swap. So in the questions, type in swap or not swap, depending on what you think. So Thomas is swapping, William is not, Rebecca is not, Ryan is swapping, Sam is not. They're all over the place. Heath is swapping. Okay, it's like 50-50. So you had your time again, Evan. What do you reckon you do? Would you swap or not swap?
I would not swap.
Why would you not swap?
because when I swap, he's able to develop his bishop.
Okay, so he recaptures with developing moves, so in theory that's bad. Is there any other reason you wouldn't swap?
He has a passed E pawn, I guess.
Well, you have a passed D pawn, so big deal. Any other reason you wouldn't swap?
Bishop versus knight.
So if you swap, it's bishop versus knight. Okay, in general, they say a queen and a knight work better together than a queen and a bishop. So if you swap, you're in an ending where he's got a bishop against your knight, and maybe the bishop's going to be reasonably good. But if you keep the queens on, particularly with his king being a little bit airy, I reckon the chances are your knight is going to be better than his bishop, and your queen and knight together, you might still end up with a checkmating attack or something. So probably queen e5 would be the go, something like that.
Alright.
So slight boo-boo in the swapping. Okay, then you attacked his pawn, he defended it. You moved your knight, looks all right. Your knight is going somewhere, or what?
I think my plan was to get to E5.
Yep, good. So that is a nice square for your knight in the middle of the board, so well done. Knight e5. He went check. You went up. And then now he chased you away. All right, so this is looking a bit dangerous because he's chasing away your good piece, and he's got the two pawns side by side, which I say is something you should aim for. Let me see. I think you hit his bishop first, and his bishop went to d5. All right, so now our knight is attacked. So, people, Evan has to move his knight somewhere, I would say, unless there's some other brilliant move I've missed. So where should he move the knight? So type in the questions where you want to move that knight to. Ryan's gone g6, Daniel's gone f3, Bradley's gone f3, William's gone back to c6, Benji's got f3, so far f3 is winning. Rebecca's gone g4, Haran's gone g4, Sam's gone c6. Right, which one of those do you like, Evan? Which appeals to you?
E4.
Which four? G4.
Yeah, G4.
What would you say to all the people who went knight f3?
It can be kicked away, and it's not really going anywhere, I guess.
So let's have a look. Kicked away.
Afterwards, it'd be sort of trapped in a way, I guess.
It's sort of trapped in a big way, isn't it?
Yeah.
So all those people, like Daniel Pob, who likes exchanging and threatening, you don't just make one move threats and hope for the best, that he's not going to see it or something, particularly when you're losing your knight. The question we should be asking ourselves is, where do we want our pieces? So to Rebecca and Haran, well done, and to Evan now, G4 is the correct move. Now, does my knight want to be on G4, Evan?
It wants to be on E3.
Yes. So you've spotted a really good square for the knight, E3, dominating the board, and it's on the black square, so he can't chase it away unless he's going to give up a rook for it. So knight G4 to E3, and you're looking pretty good. Unfortunately, in the game, I think you ran away to D7. So you missed that in the game. Okay. Now, his pawns are coming at us. This is a bit of a worry. You went knight to B6. So let's just go back. Now, in your notes, the computer suggested G5. What do you think of that?
I think it's a minority attack, I think it's called, just to get rid of the defender on the E pawn.
Why would black want to play G5?
To break up the pawn structure?
Yes.
Pawn chain?
Yes, and is that good or bad, do you think, in this position?
Good, because he's got 4 connected pawns.
Yeah, so he's got 4 pawns thundering down against your 2, and yours are sort of stuck there, not going anywhere at the moment. And your rooks are poised to hold them back, but if you can break them up, so like G5 now, I mean, you're threatening to take it. If he takes you, you can grab his e-pawn, and you're attacking his bishop and his pawn, so you're probably picking up a pawn. And if he defends with the rook or something, what can you do then?
Take anyway?
Have you looked at all?
Or maybe push up h6?
No. Keep thinking. Tactics. Tactics. Why can't you take on e5? Because the f pawn is pinned.
Yes, I can.
Yeah, so you can just take on e5 and you're winning. So g5 would have really messed up his pawns and stuff. So you missed a chance there. You went to b6. Okay, what happened then? Bishop back hitting your pawn. You went to h6. You went to h4, trying to stop that g5 thingy. You put your rook behind your pasty. Now we're in a bit of a pickle because he's come up with a tactic against your c pawn. So probably rook d8 maybe is a boo-boo then. Maybe you've got to play, I don't know, king b8 so your rook can go to c8, something like that. So it's, whether you ask yourself what's the opponent going to reply, or you just missed rook c2, I'm not sure. Anyway, looks like a good move for him. So you went up and then he drops back bishop d3. You ran away, chops. You chopped him, he chopped back. So we've lost the pawn, and we're in a bit of strife. So, people, we need your help. What can poor old Evan do here? He's a pawn down. So on the questions, type what do you reckon would be a fair move for black here. Sam likes rook c8. That's swapping off rooks when we're down in material. Ryan likes d3. So whether white just plays king d2 and we've got another weak pawn to worry about. Zoe's gone rook d7. Obviously planning to double or just defend the 7th rank. Benji likes rook d7 as well. William likes rook f to e8. Not sure what the master plan is there. Thomas likes, Thomas, g5. Praise the Lord. Well done, Thomas. Okay, so this position you're going down, Evan. Is that pretty fair summation? You're a pawn down, so if you give white time to consolidate, you're probably going to drop your d pawn and it's going to be terrible. So your mission is to do what immediately?
Counterattack?
Your mission is to swap off as many pawns as you can as quickly as possible. Double rook endings are notoriously drawn. So if you were to play g5, I mean, what's he going to do? He's going to take or something. Now, if he takes again, his pawns are all doubled and you can attack and probably pick up one of them. You'll drop your d pawn, but at least you'll get one or two of his. He might end up with an extra pawn, but it's not going to be a real good pawn. So something like g5 immediately was probably your best chance. You came up with a really strange move. Why on earth did you play b5? Tell me about that.
To try and get my pawns advanced.
But you've got like 2 against 2. Is this going to be a good plan?
No.
No, you're just sort of attacking his rook and creating another weakness. His rook can now zoom up and attack that pawn, and you've got to stop to defend it. So you've given him the free move. So that was really unfortunate, the b5. Should have gone for the g5. Now you go for g5, but it's a bit late because he's got this sneaky e6 threatening e7. And now he's got the 2 passed pawns connected. So it's sort of crisis time here. And we lost another pawn, and I think we just lost horribly from there. Okay, all right. So what lessons, if any, can we get out of that game? What mistakes did you make? traded queens, remember? Let him recapture a developing move, and you've got the queens off when maybe the queen and knight together would have been a bit better. So that was 1 point.
Yeah.
Okay. You missed the early g5. Try and swap off the pawns when it was good. And then probably the b5 later with pretty much all curtains after that. All right, so not too many mistakes there. All right, which is the second game you'd like to have a look at? We've got Leonard Lange or we've got Kim Davis.
Probably Kim Davis. I'll go with next.
We'll go to Kim Davis.
Or Davis Kim.
Davis Kim, is it? What Davis Kim, yes, you're right. Davis Kim. Computer has it the other way around. Okay, so now you're a white person in this game, so let's see how we go. Okay, good to see you playing D4 when so many juniors play E4 all the time. Right. Okay. So, what's the name of this opening?
Queen's Gambit?
Queen's Gambit. He's playing like a Slav defense or something, isn't he?
Yeah.
All right. People, what do you think white should play here? Give me some good ideas for white. What moves would you play if you were white here? A fairly standard opening position, so some of you might know the moves. Sam's going bishop d3. William's going bishop d3. Haran's going bishop d3. Kevin's going queen b3. Benji's going knight e5. We're not meant to move a piece twice in the opening unless we have a really good reason, Benji. Ethan, most people are going bishop d3. Rebecca's gone c5, which is a bit naughty. All right, what do you like, Evan?
Yeah, I guess bishop d3.
Yeah, bishop d3, or you could play a3 or queen c2. But in the game, you played takes. And your note says here, I don't know if I needed to take here. So tell me about your thoughts on takes.
I wanted to vote my bishop to d3, but I felt if he took, I'd have to recapture, and my bishop would go to a less...
You'd be losing time sort of thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, all right. Let's have a chat to William. You there, William? Talk to me, William.
Hello, Robert. Yes.
Hi.
I'm there.
Evans,
Hello, Robert.
hi. Evans just played c takes d5 because he didn't want to play bishop d3.
Uh-huh.
That might take him. So do you reckon that's a good plan, or if it's not a good plan, why not?
Well, I think after c takes d5, this is mainly just a pointless drawing position.
It's sort of all even.
It's not really,
yes,
it's not really achieving much except to not lose a move. I just think bishop d3 is good. It's the main line. You know, you go d takes c4, bishop.
All right. Now, what if he took back with the e pawn instead of the c pawn? Would that worry you?
No, not much. It wouldn't worry me.
Okay.
I'll just play bishop d3.
d3 and off you go. All right. Thank you very much, William. All right. I think that the key point is, well, there's 2 points. Bishop d3. Now, sure, it loses time if he takes you. So we go back. Oops. So bishop d3, if he plays d takes c, you're losing time, but he's losing the centre. He's losing his pawn on the 4th rank. So you're gaining a bit of space as compensation. Now the trouble with taking is you can either be boring, like William said, and take back with the c pawn, and it's all going to be symmetrical and boring. Or if he takes back with the e pawn, then you've let his bishop out. Because back in this position, last problem is what he's going to do with that bishop on c8. So you've sort of resolved his problem for him. So that, I think taking is a slight boo-boo. Now, it's still okay position and everything, but slight little boo-boo. So now he gets his bishop out. You tell him to shove off, which is great. And he takes, which is even better for you because you recapture of the queen. So all that's looking pretty good. So black has a nice solid position. Queen there. Okay. Now, I'll give you a choice of 3 moves here for everyone. Should Evan play b3, e4, or rook b1? So which move would you choose for Evan as white in this position? B3, E4, or Rook B1? William says he likes E4. Benji likes E4. Rebecca likes D4. Thomas likes Rook B1. Ryan's an E4 man. Zoe, Sam, Haran, everyone's going E4. Okay, they're not messing about. Which one do you like, Evan?
E4 looks good, but I also like Rook B1 too.
Okay, all right. So tell me the advantages of E4.
Two pawns side by side. You control the center.
Okay, but he's surely going to take, isn't he? So that'll get rid of your 2 pawns, and you have an isolated pawn.
Yeah.
Does that worry you or not?
A little. I guess I just have to. If I go down that line, I can't trade off and just.
Yeah. Again, you'll have a bit more space and stuff. Let's have a talk. Thomas, are you there, Thomas?
Yeah.
Yep. You suggested Rook B1. You were the only one to suggest that. So why did you like Rook B1?
I just thought, since it's not one of the obvious moves, it might be good ones, and you can push the B pawn up.
Okay, so that'd be a good plan for white, putting the rook behind the B pawn and pushing it.
Yeah, because you've got those centre pawns, and you can sort of push up on the side.
Yep. All right, excellent. Thank you very much, Thomas. Well done. All right. I think Thomas is probably right. You mentioned before about minority attack. Evan, you know about minority attacks?
One of the ideas is to open up the C file, I think, in the queen's.
Yeah, so like Rook B1, so white's pawns are pointed towards the queen's side. So your idea is to play, let's see, black does castle, say. Let's do some moves. B4. Now maybe he stops our pawn going up. You can move your bishop somewhere. And there you get an A4. So you've got the 2 pawns side by side here. And it's a sort of strong minority attack because you're attacking his 3 pawns with your 2. That's why it's called a minority. But look what you can do. So, for instance, you put your other rook on C1 in line with his queen, and you're going to push up B5. So we might have a big swap. So if we swapped off everything, he might end up with a backward C pawn on C6 on a semi-open file. And he can't really take you because your knight's got discovered thingies on his queen. So it's like a strong attack on the queen side for you. So he's got to try and come up with something on the king side to counter that, and it's a little bit hard for him at the moment. So I think if you wanted to have a variation that wouldn't give him much counterplay, Rook B1 possibly be the go. In the game, you came up with B3, which on reflection you're not happy with.
No, not really at all.
Because?
Try and get my bishop to do something, I guess.
Yeah, well, the point is, if you're going to play E4, which is what you did next move, your bishop can get out that way anyway. So there was no need to play B3. So you're sort of you're swapping plans in midstream. So we have a bit of a swap off. Then you hit his queen. He hits your pawn, you go back and defend. Have another bit of a swap off. He defends the check, drop back. So you've got the 2 bishops, but you've also got the isolated pawn. So it's a bit interesting. He puts his knight on that good square, blockading the isolated pawn. So that was a good move. You put your rook in line with his queen. Now he decides to swap. Should you take with the rook or the pawn? What do you think?
Probably pawn in retrospect.
Yeah, I'm a bit in 2 minds, but I think I'd probably take with the pawn. And that would give me the 2 pawns in the middle and get rid of that isolated pawn thingy. You took with the rook. He put the bishop there. Now, what moves did you look at here for white? Can you remember any candidate moves you looked at?
I can't remember.
All right, but people,
I think
people on the question, can you suggest a candidate move? Yep.
Having a look at the bishop takes h7, but I can't remember that's after this.
Yeah, you just take and you've only got your queen to attack him with, so it's probably no good. Haran's come up with an interesting idea. Anyone else see an interesting idea for white? Heath likes rook c to e1. All right, Haran suggested queen f5, which was the move that sort of hit me in the face, because he can't play g6 because the bishop's on. So it could go, takes, you hit him with a check. So it looks like you, beauty, you've won a free pawn and you're attacking. The trouble is he's got this naughty move, queen g3. So he's like counter-attacking on your e-pawn with the queen and maybe the bishop and the rook can gang up. So I think he gets out of it all right. But certainly I would have looked at queen f5 in the game. You went for the d5. He went past, I think you did rook c to e1 from memory. And you said that's a horrible move. b4 should have been a better move. So what's happening? So you were trying to get pressure on that c pawn and you should have followed up with b4. Is that what we're saying?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, it would have been consistent. So again, perhaps you've sort of chopped plans in midstream and gone back to doubling. So we had a bit of a swap. He went there. Now, queen f5 is what you played. Interesting. My computer likes d6, which is one of those silly moves you probably wouldn't look at in a million years. What do you think of d6? What's the computer on about there, Evan?
If queen takes, you get your queen on the...
You get the b thing. But
yeah, b.
What if he doesn't take? What if he just defends? Then he's going to play b6 and take your pawn, isn't he? It looks that way, but it's not quite that.
The queen can go to d5, yeah.
Queen can go to d5, and you get sort of a lot of pressure. He's always threatening to win your pawn, but you're always threatening. You've got rook f3 coming up, and you've got pressure against f7. And so d6 is one of those computer moves that we would look at that's probably quite good. Anyway, you want to get the queens off from the look of things. So you're playing for a draw here, or you think you're still winning or losing, or what do you think?
I think I want to win.
You're going to win. And swapping off queens helps you win?
Not really.
Okay. Bishops of opposite colours, so anything's still possible. Okay. What's he threatening here?
To take.
To take, alright. So what should you do?
Might defend the pawn, I guess.
Yeah. So just play bishop f3, wouldn't you? But you played something different in the game. You remember?
Did I?
You played b4. You remember what's going on there?
I think tactics probably. I thought I could get the bishop.
But that's only if he takes. I mean, he could just sit there. You can take him, he takes you back with the bishop. Big deal sort of thing. So if you want to play safe and have a draw, bishop f3 was certainly the way to go. But now you're getting a little bit messy. Now you defend it. He's just moving his king up. You're moving your king across. Here he comes. There you go. Take. Okay, so you've got a pass pawn. He's got a pass pawn. So it's a little bit messy. All right, people. What should Evan do as white? Can you find a reasonable move for Evan here? Got to be a little bit careful because black's pass pawn is probably a bit more threatening than white's pass pawn. Sam's going g4. Really horrible move, weakening all our dark squares, Sam. Heath and William come up with a reasonable move. Thomas going king e2. Jason's going king e2. What do you reckon, Evan? What would be an okay move?
Possibly just keep centralizing your king, I guess.
Possibly. Think of your rook. You've actually moved your rook. So where do you reckon you should move it?
d1?
d1. Is it nice and active on d1?
Not really.
Okay.
Possibly b3 then?
Okay, you went to b3. Like so. I reckon you could try rook a3. So you're attacking his pawn. Or you've got options like rook a6 check and maybe rook c6 to get behind his pawn. So it's like you've got a chance of getting an active rook. That's the most important thing in the rook inning, is the active rook. So you went to b3, so that's trying to activate it. And he sort of passes. And then you went up there, and it was looking pretty active. But then his passed pawn's coming at you. So you went back to pin it. He put his rook behind it. And now I'm a bit worried here. You remember what you did here?
No.
Okay. You did king e2. And we suddenly lost horribly. I think you needed to probably play rook b1 or something, get that rook in front of the pawn. So you went king e2. Now you're probably thinking his pawn's pinned. You can't play c3 because the bishop would be free. But this is one of those scenarios where, before you play king e2, you've got to thoroughly check it in case there's a surprise move. And it turns out he can play that, because if you take the bishop, obviously he plays pawn to c2. And we're in all sorts of strikes. So you went back with the rook, and he thundered on, and then a terrible thing happened. We're dropping a rook. Now, what should you do here?
Try to get a draw.
What move should you do here then? How are you going to draw? He's attacking your rook, and he's going to win your rook.
King d2, I guess.
Yeah, king d2, and at least you get the bishop for it. You did d6, so you just like giving him a free rook. And guess what? He won because he was a rook up. So king d2, you could fight on, but it'd still be a losing sort of game. Okay, so what can we learn from that game then? So back in the opening, you did the c takes d5, probably a little bit dubious. You did the b3, so you got sort of confused as to which way your bishop was going, and then the bishop went out the other way. What else did we have? Anything else you can remember? You had your rook on the c file, and then you swapped over to the e file. So again, you like swap plans, and then when you had the rook and bishop ending, which should have been a draw, with the bishop f3, you just played b4, and it got a bit messy. So sometimes you've got to think not so much in terms of winning because you want to win. If you're slightly worse in a drawish position, think, how can I play solidly? How can I set up a blockade and you can't get me and play safe? So anyway, that was a bit of bad luck. Right, so we've probably got just time to have a very quick look at the other game. Hang on, what am I doing? I'm in the wrong thing. File, load game. So which is the one we haven't looked at?
Leonard Lange.
Yeah. All right. So that's okay. You are black. All right, e4, e5. Now you say you're surprised by this move.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just a normal opening, bishop's opening. Ian Rogers used to play this quite a bit. It's okay. So don't be too surprised. You hit his pawn. He played knight f3, which looks a bit dodgy with his pawns on. So you gobbled it. He took, and then you seized the centre with an attack, so that's good. Now he put his bishop on a silly-looking square. He probably should have played queen e2 or something, so that if you take his bishop, he takes your knight. But now his bishop's there blocking everything in. What do you reckon you should do here?
I think queen g5.
Yeah, queen g5 looks like a pretty good tactic. Attacking the knight and the g-pawn. You did queen e7, which looks pretty good too. Because if the knight moves, obviously got discovered check on his queen. So he defended it. All right. What should black play here, people? Type in on the questions. What do you reckon Evan should do as black? Evan says f6. Heath says f6. Sam likes knight c6. Bobby says F6. Jason says Queen H4. Zoe says Queen H4. Ryan goes F6. What do you like, Evan?
Possibly knight C6.
You did F6. My computer just says Queen H4 check. What's wrong with that? He's going to have to play G3, isn't he?
And then, yeah.
Zap it. So he doesn't seem to have much counterplay against knight takes rook check. He's in a bit of a pickle, I would have thought. So Queen H4, if we're looking at all checks and captures, as I'm sure you all are, would have been good. You focused on chasing his knight, and then the rotten so-and-so, he got in first and did it to you. So you went there, takes... now, what should you do here, do you think? You did a slightly weird move. Any thoughts on what the best move would be?
Simply take the knight.
You could just take the knight, I think. And if he takes the rook, you've got knight G3 check and you get the rook back. Or you could look at Queen F7, would be interesting as well. But you went for a move that tactically isn't so hot. Because he takes your queen, you take his queen, and then he takes your bishop. So the bad news is we're a piece down. Right, what should you do here? People type in, what do you think? We need some help for Evan again. He's a piece down. What should he do? Candidate move. Sam's got King D7 as a candidate move. Benji's got take on F4. He's got King D7. Zoe's got Knight D7. William's got Knight D7. Bobby Knight C6. What do you like, Evan?
Possibly Knight takes F4, or...
Yeah, all those people who said King D7, you can go to the bottom of the class because he plays Bishop F5 check and we don't get our piece back. Knight F4, you're getting a pawn back, you're hitting his bishop, which would be a nice piece to take. Or just Knight D7 isn't too bad, and you're going to win your piece back because you can't defend it on F5. But you just sort of played a developing move, so you sort of lost the plot a little bit there. And he defended his pawn. Now you castled, attacking his horse, but he defended it. You gave him a check, and now you hit his bishop, and he very obligingly put it back on G4. So you hit him. All right. What should white do here? His bishop's attacked, and his knight's attacked. So it looks like Evan's going to get his piece back. What would be a good move for white? What's the best way he can get out of his problems? Ryan's gone knight take A7. Everyone's baffled. He's gone bishop F3. They're the only two. So what do you think, Evan? What would be the best for white?
Knight takes A7 seems alright, I guess.
No, you should go bishop F3. Because look, then if you take the knight, he can take D5 check, and then bishop takes B7, forking those rooks. Bishop F3 would have been the best, but he did the other one. So you took his bishop. So how do you reckon you're going here?
Pretty badly.
Why are you going badly?
Because he has, well...
He's got two...
Actually, I think I'm doing alright. I think I'm doing alright, but I feel a little...
Yeah, well, he has two more pawns, but you're well ahead in development. So I reckon it's 50-50 bet, maybe slightly your edge or something. So his knight ran away. You developed protecting the threat. He played D4. You went back. He played C3. Okay. Now, what should we do here, I wonder? All right, people, type in what you think Ryan should do, Evan should do here. He's got to be fast because he's 2 pawns down, so he can't let white consolidate. What should he play? William's got... Rebecca's going C6. Thomas rook E4. Sam rook E7. Jason rook E7. Rebecca rook E7. William's gone back to C6. Any of them appeal to you, Evan?
Not a huge amount.
Okay, you did
C5.
C5, which is, I think, a bit dodgy. I think you've sort of got him on the E file, so I'd be very quickly doubling on the E file, or I'd be playing knight F5, seeing if you can get into the 8th rank or the 7th rank before he can get his bits out. I think you'd have a pretty good chance. C5, you're sort of attacking a pawn that's defended, so he gets a chance to develop another piece. Now you get the idea of doubling. He goes there. Takes. Okay. What should he do here, everyone? We've still got a chance to seize the day. Evan's rook is attacked on E6. What should he do? He's gone knight F5, which loses a rook, so that's no good. Can he still get in there with a bit of an attack? Benji wants to take the knight. Anyone else have any ideas? Thomas wants to go rook E3. Ryan wants to take the knight. William wants rook E3. Sam wants rook E3. Jason wants bishop D4. Right, what would you do, Evan, if you had your time again?
Perhaps taking the knight with the bishop?
You did rook E3, but you should have taken the knight. He takes you, and then you bring in your other knight here. So like you're attacking A2 and C2, or you can put it on D3 and just really annoy him. And you can double rooks, and the other knight comes into F5, and you're like sitting on it. You look at white's pieces. Where's his knight going? His rooks aren't connected. Where's his bishop going? So this is going to be better for you, even though you're 2 pawns down. You would have had your chance to finish him off. Unfortunately, you didn't do that. You went for the attack on the C pawn, and he came up with a nasty knight C4, which all of you other guys, like William must have, and Sam must have missed as well. So bishop takes D4 we could do, or rook takes C3. They're both horrible. I think you did that one, or didn't you? Hang on. Around my... I think maybe you did rook takes C3. Yeah, that's right, which loses the bishop. Now your rook's attacked on A8. You should go to D8 because your D5 pawn's attacked, but you went to E8. Now his knight hitting your rook and hitting F6. You went there, he defended. You attacked, but now he's winning the exchange again. And he's winning your rook. It's just all...
It's going downhill.
It's going down rapidly. Oh my god. Yep. I think we're gone. Yep, we're gone. That was pretty terrible in the finish. Alright, so where did we go wrong in that game? What can we learn? You're on top in the start, weren't you?
Yeah, I was doing pretty well until I made the F6 move, in my opinion.
Well, F6, you were still going okay after that. So you had enough attack for the 2 pawns, but you didn't like get all your pieces out really quickly, doubling on the E file or knight back to F5 and sit on him. You went for the slower C5, and that let him get a few bits out. And then you made the tactical...
And rook E3 was...
Yeah, rook E3 was just a tactical boo-boo sort of thing. So that was unfortunate. It could have been, had you played bishop takes D4 and that knight B4, I reckon you would have had a really nice game coming up with a nice finish with your 2 knights and your 2 rooks attacking his king. Would have been good. Anyway, it wasn't too bad. Just a couple little blunders there. So that's the end of tonight's lesson, everyone. So thank you very much for listening. We just managed to fit in the 3 games, which is good. We have one more week next Thursday before the holes. So I'm looking forward to that lesson. And then reminder to everyone, I think the Sunday after that we have the novice tournament, or some of you might want to play in the Noble Park weekender, which is on then as well. So keep practicing your chess, and thank you very much, Evan, and I'll see you all next week. Good night, everyone.